But you just did the manual.
Clear! Oil pressure's good. Oil temperature's coming up. Turn the avionics on and grab our headsets. Yeah, pull that closed. And that's close the pump. Are you just putting the strap behind?
Yeah, no, just keep.
All right. Now, we're gonna let the engine warm up just a little bit before we go anywhere. Then I have my handy dandy checklist. If you want, you can follow along over here. So we're gonna do pre-taxi. So flaps are coming up. We're gonna lean out the fuel a little bit so that we're not burning too much fuel sitting here on the ground. Now you hear traffic. Alright, flaps are up, heat's on, avionics are on. We've got our weather. We got our altimeters set to 430. Set the altimeter over here as well. (316), 316, those are confirmed. So altimeter set on both. Bring that back just a little bit so we're squawking 1200. 1200. ADSB is on. No messages, which is good. Turn my volume up just a little bit. And you might have a volume switch on there as well, so...
It's
like you
fine, yeah, I don't.
Okay. And then we'll get all our lights coming on, so taxi, nav, landing. We'll do tips when we cross the runway. Nobody's behind us, so we're gonna roll forward a little bit here. Check our brakes. Brakes work. I'm gonna have you step on the top part of the pedals as well, just to test. So go ahead and step on both. Okay, brakes work on that side too, just in case. Okay, do you see or hear a little bit of static?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's this port. They're gonna have to do some more work on that. So there is a little bit static still.
I can hear that.
Like scratchy. Yeah, we shouldn't hear. Cricket jumped in here.
Cricket?
Yeah, grasshopper.
Is that on your checklist?
Not on my checklist.
They don't hear us, right?
They don't hear us. You have to push the button here that says mic
Gotcha.
for them to hear. The comms are just for us inside. And we have to slow down here a little bit. And right now I'm steering the plane completely with my feet.
Yep.
Everything's down there. Alright, and then we're going to do what's called a run up here, and this basically gives us a chance to check. This will give us a chance to check all the systems and make sure everything's working. So what we do is we pull back, check left, make sure that up and down, full forward, make sure that everything is clear and free. Clear and free. Now what we do is we're going to do our actual engine run up. We're going to go up to about 1700 RPMs. That's what we're looking for here. Right about there. Then we're going to do our mag check. So we're going to see a drop on this. I'm going to go 2 clicks. Drop of about 100, go back to both. We're going to do 1 click. Drop of about 120, go back to both. Okay, now we're going to cycle our prop. So what we're looking for is any oil or anything that comes shooting out of the prop. Nothing shooting out of the prop. Now what I'm looking for is a drop and a rise. So we're going to look for that to drop and that to rise. So that's good. And then we do one more just to get the oil going through the propeller. Alright, now we're going to do carb heat, pull the carb heat out. This is what we were looking at earlier today.
Yeah.
It wasn't adjusting, so this should be much lower than that, and it should have come up. And we saw about a 20 RPM drop in the RPMs. See how it's dropping there?
Yeah.
And then we go check idle. And now we know that the plane's not going to crap out when we're coming into the airport, because this is basically how we're going to land.
Yep.
So that goes back in. Did something turn off? I guess I didn't hit start. There we go.
That's staticky.
Yeah. That static, we're going to have to play around. So there's somebody coming down right now. Alright, so that's our run-up. So we tested our brakes, we checked fuel, trim for takeoff. Flight instruments, we did our instruments. Mixture was best power, primer and locked, 1700. We did our mag test, we did our prop cycle, we did our carb test. Vacuums and amps, that's here. Everything was checked out with those. Oil pressure, oil temperature. Idle check, throttle friction. Throttle friction's good. This is 85 Hotel, that's the plane that I trained in.
Gotcha.
Yep, so more static. He might have to check this port, but what he did is he wrapped electrical tape around this one. But if we're still getting static, then there's something else wrong with that.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to wait for them to cross and end up out of the runway. Throw our tips on. There's nobody coming down on the airplane right now. There's just somebody on on downwind here. You can see them. Yeah, lots of static. I wonder if that's going to show up on the camera. Yeah. We'll see what that... We can mess around with that again, but it's not nearly as bad as it was. Oh, they're doing a downwind departure, I guess. So they're not, doesn't sound like they're coming into land. So what we'll do is we'll take off out of here, we'll make a left-hand turn, we'll fly out towards Mount Hood, and just head down the gorge a little bit and do some sightseeing.
Yeah, wow. I think I'll be doing this morning.
All right. Crackly, crackly. Yeah, that was driving me crazy on the first flight.
I didn't get too much crackly in the back headphones.
Well, no, and I didn't hear this much crackling when Steven was in the plane, so I wonder if it has something to do with everything being up and running. Alright, so we're going to take off with 20 degrees of flaps, so out your window to the right you'll see the wing changing shape.
Yep.
Then we're going to leave all those lights on. We're going to make sure we're at full power, full mixture, props full forward, fuel set to both, trim for takeoff. We're going to stand right here, make sure nobody's around. We're going to do our pre-takeoff, so flaps are 20, props full forward, mixture's best power, carb heat is in and off. We're squawking 1200. We're going to set the heading bug to 25 because we're taking off on 25. Go back to 25. 25 set. AC is off. Doors and windows. We'll pull the window closed. All our lights are on. And it is 3:52. Alright, we're going to pull out onto the runway, we'll line up with that center line, go full power, and away we go. So, find that center line. Center line, heels go to the floor. 1, 2, 3, full power. 2600 power set, oil pressure and temperature in the green. We're looking for 60. There's 55. Rotate out. Rotate out. Get that up a little bit. Alright, positive rate. First notch of flaps comes out. Looking around. Looking for 80. Second notch of flaps. We'll pull our power 2450. Alright, manifold pressure needs to be adjusted too. We're going to come back to 2300. Here's 2450. We're going to make our turn. Welcome to the sky. Come back to 2300. Yeah, the manifold pressure is not registering correctly. So this number should be a little bit higher than it is.
Yeah.
We'll trim for that. And then we have to stay under 1500 until we get outside this. So this 2700, that's a airliner flying over our heads right now.
Oh, gotcha.
So they're going into Portland. So we have to stay below this 2,000 foot marker here. Yeah, so we're gonna have to make some adjustments to the, so this right here should not be that low based on where I know it is right now.
Yep.
And then our gas should be much higher than that too. It should be like 12, 15.
Oh, the gallons per hour?
Yeah, based on what I know. And these are all just things that we're gonna have to get used to.
Yeah.
And tweak the settings. Right,
this is pretty amazing, sorry.
Cool. Glad you're enjoying it. Alright, so now we're outside of that, and then we can climb up. So we'll go up to 2450, bring this into 2100, 22. Fuel's full. We'll look for about 90 to climb up. all the red is within 100 feet of us
What do you
as
mean?
far as altitude. So that's why we're climbing up.
So we're heading out to the gorge, is that
Yeah,
right?
so just over this ridge line in front of us is going to be the gorge. We're going to climb up to about probably 2,500 feet, and we'll fly down the gorge.
There's all those waterfalls right over,
Yeah.
right?
Kind of off to our right, there's an outlook over there.
Yeah. We went there actually when we took that road. We went there.
That's Autumn. That's Lucas's daughter.
Are they somewhere on here?
They're not going to show up because they're in a plane that doesn't have all of the
yeah.
electronics in it. Alright, so we'll level off here at 2,500. So we'll bring that back to 2,000. And bring that back to about 2,300. And we'll trim forward for that.
Wow, this is amazing. You can see why you learned to fly.
Yeah.
Just go to Mount Hood, just use that as a...
We'll go by Multnomah Falls here,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to see that. But then there's the outlook over here.
Yep, we stopped there, yeah.
Kind of a different view from up here.
Oh, yeah. I like how I looked right to make sure there's no traffic coming.
Well, that's good.
Like you're clear, Barry, on the right. You're good.
That's good.
As we get into the river. Wow.
So there's a plane down at Beacon Rock, which is the bigger point that you see right. So they're behind us. You can see them down here at 1,100, and then the other one that's coming. So we're going to climb up to about 4,000 feet now.
To get out of their way, or just as a normal?
It's more just to kind of, the helicopter's going to go slow and low.
Yeah.
And then this will just get us a little bit more clearance between them.
I can't believe I'm up here right now.
Why?
I mean, I can believe it, but I can't believe it. Such a crazy vantage point from up here.
Yep. Yeah, so that's what I was expecting with the fuel flow. 13, 14. We'll climb up to about 4,500 and we'll be right about level with some of these.
Where do you see the elevation?
Right here.
Okay, yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll bring this up to 4,500. And I'm gonna bank my heading towards where we're going. There's a so that's the one that I'm looking at,
yep.
Kind of off my lower wing. That's autumn. Now I should be seeing airplanes on here, and I don't know why it's not working. So that this one is communicating with this, and this letter here it says ADSB.
Yeah.
That's what's giving me all the airplanes around me and the traffic.
But that's where this should be on this one.
Right, there should be traffic being displayed here. And then we should hear an audible tone as I'm approaching 4,500. Not sure why we didn't get that. So we'll level off 4,500. Pitch forward, bring this back to 23. Bring this back to...
That's Adams, right? Or
Yep, that's Mount Adams.
St. Helens?
Correct.
Bernier?
Yep. Now we kept on climbing. And then right in front of us, I'll dip down a little bit so you can see that. That's the power station.
Yeah. They're down.
Behind us.
Yeah. They said
That's
800.
him. Yeah, he's super low. See what the autopilot does. We'll just do heading, altitude. Alright, we don't want it to do that.
Yeah.
Not sure why it's interesting.
How come she keeps checking in?
She is talking to everybody over at the airfield,
Oh, gotcha.
letting everybody in the airplane, in the airfield to know what she's doing.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna do some experimentation with the autopilot. Let's see if that autopilot will do heading, altitude. So it should start making a slight left turn here over to 30. I don't think there was traffic in the pattern.
How far down is the gorge?
What do you mean?
Like, is it... Can't remember, because we stayed at Skamania?
Yeah.
Just somewhere around...
Skamania is kind of off to our left here.
Yeah.
so that's behind us as well. Alright, so again, I'm just playing around with some of the settings because...
Yeah. Did you have to calibrate something when you're in the air?
Yeah, there is, and I'll do it on another flight.
Yeah.
I'd rather just fly with you. And,
yeah, not worry about it.
Yep. So, overall, the autopilot seems to be doing well.
Oh, you just back on.
Yeah. I just push straight forward. It should level it off. This also has a pretty amazing safety feature that if you are in a turn and for some reason you're losing control of the airplane, you hit this level button and it will actually level the airplane and make it fly straight again.
Huh. What's our speed?
Our speed is about 140 miles an hour right now. So, heading. Sky, okay, I see what's going on there. Alright, and then what we're going to do is look for the nearest airport, KDDLS. We're going to tune that. And then we're going to listen to the weather on the other one. Traffic above us.
Yep.
We're going to tune to 122.8. Let's see, that is 4S2. Load that in there. I'm going to do tower, swap that over. And then as we get closer to this airport out here, it's called the Dalles, but I'm going to turn all of this off. And the static seems to have gone away now that we're flying.
Yeah, it's not so bad actually.
As we start getting closer to the Dalles here, we're going to start hearing their weather. If you want, we can go over there and have a landing.
Up to you.
Alright.
Whatever you want to do. Have we passed Hood River?
Hood River is...
Probably close by somewhere.
It's the next bridge in front of us.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so this is us, and this is Hood River here.
It was like the Bridge of the Gods or something too, somewhere.
Yeah, we've already flown over Bridge of Gods.
There's just waterfalls everywhere.
Yep. How are you doing temperature-wise?
Oh, I'm perfect.
Alright.
Yeah, no, it's good.
What I try and do is aim below your head so it doesn't make that noise. Nice and calm, huh?
Yeah, this is perfect. Those are low clouds up here?
They're probably at about 12,000 feet.
Alright, yeah.
We'll fly back the other way at a lower altitude so we can see a little bit more. And then these are all just winds that are coming off Mount Hood.
Yeah.
You can just barely hear the weather starting to come in. That's what I'm listening to here. You hear that like clicking in the background?
Yeah.
Now it's gone and we'll hear that here in a minute. But I'm going to do tips off, taxi off, we'll leave the landing lights on. No, we can do those off. There's an airfield right here to the right. That's where my examiner is based.
Yeah.
So when he came to do my exam for my flight certification, he flew over from here, landed at our airport, then went flying with me.
Then went back home.
Yep.
A lot easier than driving, for sure.
So it would have taken him like an hour and a half, maybe more, as opposed to how long have we been in the air now?
Yeah.
30 minutes. Why is that trying to go to Astoria? Nearest the Dow's flight plan. Menu. Remove waypoint. Okay. Remove airport. Back. Menu. Remove waypoint. Alright, so nearest the Dow's, direct to, there we go. Now if I do heading track, autopilot, heading, and altitude. So then we can do source. Let's see if that actually starts taking us there.
That's autopilot right now?
Yep. So if I bring that back to there. Yeah. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. Scalloping a little bit. There's definitely some calibration that needs to be done with that. And we're on 122.8, which is the Dow's 123. Let's see how far out are we. about 10 miles out. So we can start coming down. We're looking for about 500 feet a minute. So about there. See what the traffic is. So 3-3, so we're probably going to land on 3-1. You can see the airport kind of off. There's like a crisscross on the other side of that ridge.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yep.
Nearest Dalles, direct to, enter, activate. Not sure why. We should be hearing the weather over there. For some reason we're not getting it, but slow down a little bit. Altimeter 3005. Alright. So we're going to get down to about 1,000 feet. Once we get down to about 1,000 feet, then I will level off. I'm going to do a brake check. Brakes are good. Fuel set to both. Cow flaps where they are. We're going to trim for takeoff. So that's going to come there. That's from there. Undercarriage. Mixture is going to go full rich. Prop's going to go full forward when we get a little bit further in. So we're getting a little bit closer to 1,000. You can see the airport over here now.
Yep.
Alright, so there's 1,000. Alright, so gas is full forward, prop is full forward. We're going to bring all our lights on. Descent, pre-landing brakes, autopilot, AC is off, seatbelts. You got your seatbelt on?
Yep.
Alright, so there's 1,000. so we're gonna do our first notch of flaps. That'll help slow us down. Come back to idle, 1200. Trim for that. It's gonna give us a lot of warnings like that. Do you hear the terrain warnings? Okay. We're gonna do our second notch of flaps. I'm gonna have to mute that. Alright, so there's the runway. We're gonna line up with that center line. Come back to 1200, pitch for that. Now we're just gonna watch that runway and keep our power. We'll do another notch of flaps. Okay. And we're on the ground again. Alright, flaps coming up. Props full forward. This is a runway, so we're going to cross over that. We're going to have to go all the way down past the 1 mark here, and we'll taxi back, do a takeoff.
Very good job.
Thank you. We refer to that as the carrier landing when you come in a little bit. It was a little bit more firm than I wanted it to be.
It was perfect for me. No issue. Do they talk back to you at the tower here? Or?
There's no tower here.
So you're just, who are you telling? You're just telling other...
I'm telling other traffic in the area.
Yeah.
And it's more of a courtesy to... at non-towered airports, you don't necessarily have to talk to people.
Yeah.
So it's not actually required.
It got hot in here.
Yeah. It does get hot on the ground. I'll open the window and try and get some air in here. Huh. That's why we were getting blown off the wind. So the wind is actually coming from here. Let's see. Uh-oh. Three 310. Okay. Okay, well then I guess we're going to take off on 3-1 this time. So what we'll do is we'll cross over 3-1 here, and then we're going to have to taxi down to the other end and take off going out that way. So we landed with a bit of a crosswind when we came in, but not too bad.
Pretty sure this is the highlight of my trip. I'm just gonna call it right now.
All right.
Just go home now. That's to whoever else is
Right.
listening.
Yep. So if somebody else was listening, then they would hear us. So we're gonna come down this taxiway right here. And then the police cars are over here doing some training.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Pit
yeah.
maneuvers.
Probably good practice, right? To come, well, for you to come to fly to another airport, land, like do it all, and not super busy, like just.
No, so today, this flight is actually, this counts towards some of my other training.
Yeah.
Because this airport's more than 50 miles from the airport that we took off.
And you just keep a log? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, so my log is on here. And this shows all of my, every flight that I've had.
Yeah.
And I have 151 hours of flight time.
Is that counting right now, or is it when you're up in?
This flight will get added after this, so I'll have to do another logbook entry when we're done. And then you heard this talking to us as well, right? When it said entering runway 31?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I heard the pull up.
Okay, yeah, I think all of that's coming from here, and it's a bit aggressive because we haven't tuned it. Alright, so we're trim for takeoff, fuel set to both, cow flaps are going to get open. Mixture goes full rich, props full forward. Trim for takeoff, trim. We're going to do 20 degrees of flaps. Those are all in. Pre-takeoff. Prop mixture, carb heat, pitot, transponder squawk, heading bug, doors and window landing lights. Alright, all our lights are coming on. Doors and windows. Okay. Alright, here we go.
Where are we taking off?
That way. Because there's no runway on that side. Alright. Heels to the floor, and then you'll see on my screen, you'll actually see some of that as well. 1, 2, 3, power set. Prop is full forward. Airspeed's alive. Oil pressure and oil temperature in the green. We're looking for 60. There's 60, we'll bring her up. Positive rate. First notch of flaps comes up. Second notch of flaps. Come back to 2450. 2450. Welcome to the sky.
Thank you.
Flaps are up. Trim for that. So just to give you a little bit of a heads up, when we come back into groove, it's probably going to be a lot more bumpy. So it might feel a lot more jiggly and wiggly and
Like coming into that
area,
okay.
Because of the way the trees and the wind and all that stuff works.
Thanks for the heads up.
Yep.
such different terrain out here too.
Very different.
Yeah.
Yep. Then we'll climb up to about 3,500 on the way back. Yeah, Mount Adams has a bunch of clouds over the top. So there's supposedly a lot of cougar activity.
A lot of what?
Cougar activity around Mount Adams and Mount St. Helens right now.
Like ladies?
No, no.
I know.
The animals.
I didn't hear that.
So just be aware.
Yeah.
If anybody is carrying firearms, it's probably not a bad idea to have them.
Yeah.
I don't know if your buddies are...
No, no one has one with them.
Got it.
I think 2 of them do have licenses, but... Yeah, that landing was smooth.
Thank you.
I don't know what you thought about it, but
It was
from my side it was fine.
not bad. I've had better.
You said there was a crosswind?
Yeah, the wind was pushing us to the south. I probably should have landed on the runway we took off on. It was about 6 knots, 5 knots of a crosswind. But it's good to practice in winds like that.
Yeah.
Level off here at 3,500.
We did whitewater rafting over here somewhere.
Oh, with the kids?
Yeah, the White Salmon River. I think it's over here somewhere.
Yep. We'll fly. Well, we flew right over White Salmon, but now it'll be on.
Yeah, I'll see it this time.
Yep.
Nice place to learn to fly.
Right?
Yeah.
Not too bad.
So could you like fly to like wherever you want, right? Just make sure your fuel.
Yeah.
Like, do most airports like that one have fuel station or?
So a lot of this tells you if they have the cross on them, that usually means that they have fuel there. But solid means it's a hard runway. The circle usually means it's a grass runway. And then this gives you all the different information. So if you tap on them, it also gives you, come on. Doesn't like my fingers right now. There you go. So if you go to FBO, so that one has fuel, self-service.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like the AAA in the sky. And then this also allows you to do all of your flight planning as well. We're going to flight plan, menu, remove waypoint, okay. Exit. Then we're going to do nearest. We're going to scroll down to 1 Whiskey 1. There. We're going to do direct 2. And then we're going to come back. Interesting. That should have flipped over and given me the map facing the other way.
Yeah.
I know why it's doing that. Exit. There it goes. So we have a 25 knot kind of headwind.
Yeah.
And it's almost an 18 crosswind.
What was the red again on here?
Red means that terrain is within 100 feet of our altitude, but we're 8 miles away from that. That's what the ring says.
Yeah.
Just gives you an idea of where things are.
I got you. So if we went higher, less red.
Yep. What you don't want to see is the red right next to the airplane.
Yeah. I bet this is the white salmon over here.
Probably. It is, yep, definitely.
Yeah.
And then the river goes up.
Comes off of Mount Adams.
Well, that's Mount Adams right there.
Yeah. It was freezing, I remember when it was... you can see paddlers.
You can?
Yeah.
Nice. We're getting a pretty good lift from the winds that are coming at us. Now it's saying that it's a 31 knot wind. So that's why we're getting so much altitude. It brought us up almost 300 feet. So it might get a little bumpy in the gorge here. Nothing to really worry about. If it gets too bad, what we'll do is just slow down and kind of just cruise our way through. We don't want to be ripping through the gorge at max speed if it gets bumpy.
Yeah.
But right now it's pretty smooth. And if it does, we'll just climb up and out of it.
Yeah.
You can see the wind on the water down there. Yeah, I think it's going to get pretty... We're going to climb up. I don't want to be down in the gorge while it's doing that. I think once we get past this ridge line, we won't have as much. But the fact that the wind is coming kind of from our right.
Are there any other lights around here?
There's an airliner, or no, that's not an airline. See how it says 0? That means they're at the same altitude as we are. You can see the airplanes over here. These are all commercial airlines going into Portland. He's at 38,000, or 3,800 feet above us. You can feel how it smoothed out just a little bit as we got up above those cliffs. And then what I'm doing here is I'm just looking for other traffic to see if we see anything.
Yeah.
If we see anything, then I make radio calls. Otherwise, I just stay quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see anybody.
I'm annoyed that we're not getting traffic on here because all of these airplanes...
I have the right transmitter, probably, right?
Yeah, I mean, we should see all of those out and around. Alright, now we can get back down to 3,500. And then we'll start picking up some of the radio traffic from...
I just heard that, like, clicking.
Yep. So that's going to be closer to the Portland area. What I do want to do is do a quick check and see. Winds are calm over Troutdale, which is really good. That means the winds are just really heavy over here.
Yeah.
Because it's showing we got a 37 knot wind coming from the north right now.
How does it know that?
It's picking up information from the ground and other airports and the radios. Oh, we must have flown over. No, there's Bridges of Gods right there. So where the river gets narrowest.
Yep. Yeah, that's kind of near that lodge. Over there somewhere.
Where you stayed?
Yeah.
The other thing is so it's looking at our airspeed here. Our true airspeed is 148 miles an hour. Our ground speed is only 34 miles an hour. So that's also how it can calculate out some of that.
Adjust it, yeah.
Yep. And then there's no static while we're flying around. So it must be something to do with being down on the ground.
Good troubleshooting that we did then.
Yeah. And then, did you go out to Beacon Rock with the kids at all, or?
I don't think so. Which one was that?
It's the really tall one on the south or the north bank of the river.
No, we didn't do that. We did a hike into a waterfall over here somewhere.
Okay.
Can't remember which one.
Was it Multnomah, the really big one?
No, that one was too busy.
Okay. A lot of times the parking lot will actually get so crowded you can't even park there.
Yeah, no, the one we did was amazing. There was no one parked.
Really?
It was like a half-mile hike.
That's cool.
You go under the waterfall. I forget the name of it.
Interesting. I don't think we've done that.
It was closer this way. So the prop pitch is what brings us up or down? No. Like when you're doing the twisting.
So what I'm doing is adjusting our power, the propeller's pitch, and then 3 o'clock. Says we have traffic, 3 o'clock. That might be a reflection.
I don't see anything.
Yeah, I think that's a reflection of us. So this blue knob is not something that is in the trainer airplanes. This is for more of like cross-country flying.
Yeah.
And what this does is it changes the pitch of the propeller. And that allows us to change our power settings for economy.
Gotcha.
Alright, so yeah, that's a reflection. There's nobody that close to us. That's our airplane chasing us. So for altitude, you want power. So if I wanted to climb, I give it more power.
Yeah.
And then the airplane will start climbing. It'll take a second for it to respond, but you'll see the nose kind of pitches up a little bit.
Yeah.
So if I bring this back down to 22 where I had it, that's kind of like a economy flying.
Yep.
And then that will keep us kind of leveled off, 3,400-ish. And then your pitch is what gives you your airspeed. So if I was to pitch the plane up and still have a lot of power, then you're going to climb. But if I pitch the airplane up and don't give it a lot of power, you're going to bleed off airspeed because you're kind of moving forward. So when we get back to the airport, what I'm going to do is target right around 90 before we get onto the the final turn towards the airport.
Yeah.
And flying over the airport, what I want to do is be right around 80 as we're coming down onto the runway. And then once we get the runway made, then I'll pull the power and we'll kind of come settle it down.
Yep.
And right as we're coming down to the runway, I want to smooth out that transition and kind of fly parallel to the runway and let the engine or the air speed bleed off, and that slowly brings us down to the...
Yep.
Alright, so let's go nearest. 1 Whiskey 1. Direct 2. Enter. Activate. So we're 15 nautical miles out. Go back to the map. Bring up our data. I'm going to do the same thing here. Go to 1 Whiskey 1, direct 2. And then when this number gets to about 500, that's when I want to start bringing my descent down. And what we could do, see there's this first power lines here, and then there's another one over on the other side. So once we get around this, actually we can just fly over it. We'll fly over it. We want to go to the second power lines and then just follow those straight in. And then kind of where the first power lines disappear over the ridge, behind that you'll see like a little knuckle sticking up. It's kind of like a bump just into the fade, like almost 12 o'clock where we are right now.
Yeah.
That's called Green Mountain, and that is like right here. So that's Green Mountain, and that's a kind of a way that you figure out where the airport is.
Oh, gotcha.
So once we get about 10 miles out, then I'll make a radio call and let people at Grove know that we're coming in.
Yeah.
And then we'll just follow the power lines in.
Yeah.
And it might be a straight in approach, and I'll let them know that based on traffic. And then see how this is getting close to 500?
Yeah.
So that's basically when we want to start descending down to the airport. Lenhart is way down here. See it all the way down here. But that's how much the radios you can hear. It might get a little bumpy over the mountains because of the winds. But nothing we can't handle. So what we'll do is we'll slow down a little bit, and we'll maintain this altitude. By slowing down, that gives the wings a lot more flexibility when there's this much wind. Should have said traffic permitting. You can see the second ridge line, power lines that are going over there.
Yeah.
And now you can see the Green Mountain. as we're getting closer to the airport, we're going to get down to about 1,200 feet. And that's traffic pattern altitude. When I took Emery up for the first flight, I was following this power line and was like, wait, I'm on the wrong power lines.
Don't tell, yeah, don't say that.
Actually, see the airport?
Oh yeah.
So, again, I was following the wrong power lines. This is the correct power lines. Alright, so we're going to come down. We got to get below 1,500 before we get to this pink arc.
Oh yeah.
Traffic permitting, traffic permitting. Alright, so we're going to do first notch flaps. We're going to start slowing down. Feel the brakes come on?
Yeah, I get my seat moved forward, yeah.
Yep. Alright, so we're going to get down to about 90. We're going to bring it in at 90. And then you see those two red lights?
Yeah.
That's our glide slopes. And as we get closer, they're gonna, one of them's gonna go white, and we're gonna wanna come in with white and red next to each other until we clear the trees that you can see right at the end of the runway. The winds are gonna get calm as we get closer. Right now they're still coming off from the north. Alright, mixture's going to go full rich, prop's going to go full forward. Then we got a good descent coming. We're still not at traffic pattern altitude, but we're good. Turn for takeoff. We're going to change our rudder a little bit. Undercarriage, mixture's full rich, props set. Switches, seat safety, all our lights are on. See this little U that we see?
Yeah.
That's our path that we want to follow. They call it the highway in the sky.
I heard that.
Okay, so that means we're 1,000 feet above ground. Alright, so now we're going to level off here at about 1,200. Alright, so second notch of flaps is in. We're kind of just coming in pretty slow because we got a good crosswind. Right now it's saying that we're low on the glide slope, which is fine because we're so far out. And you can see that left light is about to turn white. Once it does, that's when we're going to follow it in. There it is.
Yep.
Now we can follow that in. So we're going to pitch for about 80, bring our power back to about 1,800. Pitch for that, so now we're a little bit high. So cut power, drop down a little bit. We'll go last notch of flaps. There's our glide slope. Now what I'm doing is aiming for that second arrow behind the numbers. Okay, runway's made. Power to idle. Welcome to the ground.
Nice.
Flaps come up. Mixture out. Get our window open. Little airflow. Test our brakes. Brakes are working. Alright, so now we're back on the ground. Flaps are open. Mixture comes out. Carb heats in. Squawk 1200. Flaps, carb heat, cowl, strobe, landing, taxi, P-dub, mixture, trim, squawk. Alright. Welcome back to Grove.
Yeah, I don't know like what goes on in your mind when you're doing that, but you're very confident and it's really smooth. So
Thank you.
I hope that's what you want to put off, but I don't know if your mind is just like going a mile a minute, but
It used to.
you can't tell.
It used to go way more than that.
I felt very, very safe
Awesome.
on this trip.
Thank you. That's what I'm going for.
Safety first, right? I mean, there's just a lot.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I'm going for, and that's why when you're in commercial flying and stuff like that, you hear the pilots like, "Welcome aboard, people," and they instill that sense of confidence. And
Yeah.
wait, turn lights on before we cross the runway. Check for traffic.
And that's just for courtesy.
Yep. Did you hear that?
No.
You did not hear that?
No.
Okay. Interesting, because you should hear that, but I hear it over Bluetooth, I think. So yeah, all of the traffic that we were seeing on here, we should have been seeing on here and on here. So there's something wrong with ADSB, and that's something else he's going to have to fix.
But you at least get it here.
Yeah, that's what this radio gives me.
But it shouldn't you shouldn't have to.
Right. That's why we have backups. What I do is come pretty close to the road taxi here, and then try and bank it like that. Now we're going to go dark on the audio.
Wow. Start the engine of fuel.
Yeah, that was like I said, that was like full confidence. Like that's something like good for you to like take this up and learn it and just become like.
Well, I wouldn't have brought somebody in the airplane if I couldn't.
Oh yeah,
So-
yeah. Yeah, Audrey would not have come up.
No?
I don't think so.
Huh.
I don't know if the kids probably would have done it.
Alright, so these should power off here in 3 seconds or so.